Hi, welcome to the Adaptive Times. I'm Angeliki and I'm sitting down with Jade today, who has a role at Google, and also she has landed a non-executive director role at the age of 32. So that's what we're uncovering. How do you start? How do you get there? How do you navigate? And how do you position yourself to a board of directors? And stay tuned. Hi, Jade. Welcome to the Adaptive Times.
Thank you.
Can I start? So I was thinking of a question. I want to start a ritual since you're a first guest.
Ooh.
And I was thinking, can I have a question to break the ice faster?
Okay.
Okay. So the Adaptive Times, what is all about, right? Navigating change.
Yeah.
And when we navigate change, a lot of the discomfort is because our head, it's in conflict with our gut. You might be on the verge, I want to do something. My gut tells me yes, and my heart really goes after this. And my head is like, safety, safety, safety. No, risk. It's something unknown. So for you, at this point in time, how are you navigating life? Head or heart?
That is a great opening. I can definitely relate. I think there's definitely seasons in my life where I'm one or the other.
Yeah.
I would say right now I'm more heart.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think I'm planting lots of seeds.
Yeah.
Is the way that I'm thinking about it. I'm giving them lots of watering, lots of nourishment, in the hope that in the future they will help me get towards my goal, whatever that is. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm following my heart that that's the right thing that I'm doing.
Nice.
Who knows?
What do you do and what seeds are you planting then? Tell us.
So I want to start off by saying I'm a West Midlands gal. So I've been planting seeds, I think, for a very long time to escape my kind of small town that I'm from. Absolutely love it, but not a lot going on there. So, spent most of my childhood in the West Midlands. And then I think from a very early age, I knew I wanted to pursue a job in the city. That was like the dream. Can you escape the town, small town mentality, all of that kind of thing. And I was always like looking ahead. I knew that there wasn't enough going on in my local area to satisfy the ambitions that I had. So yeah, I was lucky to have a really good postgrad and undergraduate job post university, which was a structured graduate program that gave me loads of experience in sales and marketing. And then I managed to make my way to Google around about 8 years ago.
That's where we met.
That's where we met. Yes, all those years ago. Originally joined the business on the hardware side, and I was helping build the Pixel and the Nest portfolio business for the first 4 years, looking after some of their largest clients. And then I transitioned laterally to advertising around about 4 years ago, where again, I've been looking after some of Google's largest clients from an advertising perspective. So that's kept me busy for like 8 years or so. And yeah, I guess I've been thinking about, what else is beyond big tech? Like, how else can I challenge myself? I think it's no surprise that at the moment in this industry, it's very tough. It's very challenging. So I'm trying to think about what are the other opportunities out there where I can spread my wings a little bit further and help me get back into certain industries that I'm really passionate about, which I'm sure we'll get onto.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to have you as a guest, the first one. And I think that's what I love. Because in the environment that we're in, especially in tech, I'm also in tech, people feel stuck very often. And especially after the pandemic and as millennials and everything, they're like, oh, I would love to do something more or like something new. And the easiest thing that comes to mind is like, okay, I'm going to leave corporate and jump ship. And what I love about your story is that actually you like corporate, you love corporate, you like your job, and you're building something for maybe corporate spin-off kind of thing for the very long future.
Yeah.
But using your corporate background. So tell us what you do.
Yes.
What is that parallel path you're building?
I think you're definitely braver than I am. I think it's fair to say. Like I couldn't do this week in, week out. So kudos to you. So what am I doing? I'm thinking about adjacent ways in which I can take the current skills that I have and leverage that into new industries. So the way that I've thought about this is through non-executive director roles, which I have 2, very proud of. The first is in an AI sports startup, specifically in football. And the other is working with Birmingham County FA, which I absolutely love. I love football for my sins, dare I say it. I'm a big Wolves fan, and my partner's a United fan, unfortunately. So, yeah, every weekend is a bit of a misery at the moment. But yeah, I wanted to get back involved in football. And the way that I thought about this was, what are the different jobs and opportunities that can help me transition into that space? And a non-exec director role felt very natural. So I got super clear on, what are the things that I'm good at and skilled at. And I've taken that into the industry, which has been super rewarding.
I'm going to come back to this because I think how you make your skills transferable, it's super interesting as a tip to share, and I would love to learn it. But first, what is a non-executive director?
Yes.
Because I didn't know either.
Yes.
Before
and it's funny because me and you were on this journey together, weren't we? Yeah, so around I think it was about a year and a half ago, we sat in a room together and we had this brilliant organisation come in, WB directors, and they shared the steps and the opportunity that represents being a NED. And I think we were all quite inspired being in that room. There was a great panel conversation. And we all left being like, we are going to do this. We're going to do it. And we formed a little guild pack together. And we made it fun, like we went to networking events. We had lovely lunches afterwards. And it was so much fun. But NED is non-exec director role where you're not in the business, you're advising. So you're there to challenge respectfully, but also offer advice as well and all the skills that you have. It's very different to being in the business. And usually boards hire for skills, not titles. So you'll be brought in with a specific skill set to help the organisation on.
And what's the difference with the classic boards executive directors you hear? So they're also consultants, no?
Yeah, so a normal executive director is sat in the business. So you're employed by the business, you probably have the salary, etc. Whereas a non-exec, you're not sat in the business. There is often, still an interview process, but you're outside the business looking in. And you're there to scrutinise and give them a different perspective. Perhaps they don't have the skills that you have. So you're someone outwards coming in. To really challenge the business differently to someone sat in the business who can sometimes get quite tunnel visioned in how they think about the business.
Yeah. Okay. That's very different from what you do in your day-to-day. So that's where I'm going to come back to that. How do you position yourself? How do you position those transferable skills from like tech, sales, marketing, partnerships, doing the job, to being that person that's going to look from out in that you would normally expect it comes with like many, many years of experience for older people,
So true. Yeah, and this is one of the perceptions that I had when I sat in that room around about a year ago. I remember thinking, why on earth would anyone want to employ me?
What do I do here?
Yeah,
what am I doing here?
What am I doing? All of the, the imposter thoughts crept in. But actually, there's a lot of value that I think, many people can bring to boards that often people underestimate in themselves. So I think in terms of the value and the position that I had, I was very clear on, okay, what are the things that I'm good at? And it's often more obvious than you give yourself credit for. So I was trying to think about all these big grand things. And actually, I had a conversation with, it might have even been yourself, Angeliki, and I was just like, look, what are the things that I'm good at? And it was as simple as, look, you've worked in partnerships for a very long time, and then you transferred into digital marketing the last 4 years. You've worked with the largest advertisers, so you're probably quite good at that. So for me, it was the intersection between partnerships and digital marketing, and really being clear on your board value add. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, as I mentioned, but boards really hire for skills, not titles. So having clarity on your board value add, which is what WB really talk very clearly about, I think is the most important thing. Because often around the board table, there is they're hiring for specific skills. So they're hiring for someone from legal or from finance, and you are just another skill that they're filling. They're often not looking for generalists.
Okay, interesting. I've traditionally taken a lot of pride in myself being a generalist amongst other specialists, which is very interesting about like my vision about the future of work is that because specialism can be replaced eventually, the more you know about how the business runs more widely, the more useful you might be. And I guess this is what you're bringing in the value you show and what you're building also as a non-exec, actually, because it's how those different pieces tie into the business together so the business can perform better and you can advise better, which is very interesting. I guess on your CV then, that value add that you bring, the soft skill, right, which is not the titles. You know how we normally write corporate CVs, which is like, I delivered X and I did this. And it's kind of a job description, but on steroids with all of the results that you've brought. Like how that differs in at a high level, not how you build yours.
Yeah, it's very, very different. So you're not talking about your job, the things that you've done, all of the what. You're really talking about the how. So all the things that you've done, the leadership skills that you have. The CV is kind of flipped on its head, I would say. Your corporate experience is at the bottom of the CV. And then at the top is really about, how you do what you do. That's the most important thing. Because remember, you're not a doer in this role. Yeah. You're very much, high level, 100 feet high, helicopter view, and you need to take organizations on this transformational change. So the way that you do that is really, really important. And that's why they're looking for those soft skills more than the actual hard, cold facts of what you do day to day.
Okay. And how, on that positioning yourself, when I think of boards, I always think probably older demographics. White male, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
In my brain, personal opinion. You're a young lady. Yeah, like you're in a sense of like, how do you make sure you get heard? And like from an executive presence perspective, I guess what's your tip or your advice?
Yeah.
How do you navigate that?
I think there's no like quick answer to solve this, and no matter what book you read or anything like that, I don't think you can just switch that on overnight. Like for me, it's a skill that I've been working on for a very long time. I have a professional coach as well. Okay. That's really helped me go on this journey of confidence is what we're talking about. So I don't think that's something you can just all of a sudden say, today I'm confident. Yeah. It really takes a long time.
A lot of work behind.
A lot of work. A lot of failure along the way. But it's such a rewarding thing, like challenging yourself in this way. And I'm very lucky in my day-to-day role. I get to work with very large clients, very senior people. And I think that in itself brings a lot of confidence. So I'm lucky that I had a foundation where I could take that and then apply it into a different industry. But I guess for someone that's starting out, I think, look, if you're struggling to speak up at the board table, get a coach if you can. I would highly, highly recommend that. As I mentioned, no matter how many books you read, I don't think the real works starts until you start working on yourself properly with help. And then after that, I think, look, you need to have confidence in the reason that they've hired you. They've hired you for a specific reason. When the conversations come up in whatever your discipline is, like you do need to have the confidence to be able to step forward and offer advice. They wouldn't have hired you otherwise. So it's really about backing yourself, I think.
And I like what you said about confidence, the way you talked about it. Because if you think, the way you talked about it, confidence, right? If you think about a range, it starts before you apply, which is back to that imposter syndrome of, who am I to go to a board role? Like, I'm 35, I'm like, come on, a lot of imposter syndrome women often we have. And then that needs work first. And then you work with on your CV on how do you position, you bring out these transferable skills and soft skills. So it's the practical side of how do you really believe in the skills you have and how you position them on paper. And you mentioned WB, it's women on boards for anyone who would like to start.
Well, they've rebranded. Okay. They're no longer women on boards anymore. They're WB directors. Okay, WB directors. Yeah, check them out. They're very good. Would highly recommend.
Yes, also highly recommend, even though I didn't go down path in the end, but great, super inspirational and super helpful. And then that's the part of the confidence. And then you do the interviews. Once you're in, then it's that part of confidence, which is the executive presence confidence, to really finding your voice in the room. I guess be also more thoughtful and purposeful on how do you land your message very clearly. So it's one, opening the mouth.
Yeah.
Second, believing what you're going to say, so delivered with confidence. Delivered with clarity, so you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there are two things that are coming to my mind. One is, all of this is called executive presence. How the hell do we build it? Where do we start from? Maybe I can ask you that question, and then I will come to another one, I thought.
I think as well, this is often, I think, a misconception with board roles. Like, I need to go in, I need to have all of this knowledge, I need to be an expert. And actually, it's not really about that. It's about asking the really sensible questions.
Okay.
So I think you need to become an expert question asker.
Okay. I like that.
That then takes the pressure off you as an individual. Like, I don't need to go into these, big organizations and expect that I know everything, because that just isn't the case. But you having maybe 70% of the knowledge, you'll be able to ask a very thoughtful question that perhaps people around the table haven't considered. And that is where your value comes in.
And how do you ask good questions?
That is a great question.
Well, back at it. Okay, my one tip on this, having been trained as a professional coach, is like, I think generally speaking, ask thought-provoking questions. How do you ask thought-provoking questions? They are not binary or closed. As in like this or that, or it's more like the what, how, where. But because that opens up the other person. But I think there is something beyond this which you need to bring in that role.
I think having domain expertise in something will allow you to ask those those leading questions, because you have the domain expertise to be able to take the conversation a certain way. But I think, honestly, I would say just be very curious. Like, ask the thing that will help you get to a place where then you can guide. And I think that comes from genuine curiosity. Don't assume you know where the conversation's going to go. So I don't know how you practice curiosity.
It's a very good one, Curiosity is one of my pillars on the Adaptive Times, because I think that's how we grow our mind, by asking questions, interestingly.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere recently, sorry, deviating, but about curiosity and assumption, I heard something that, like, as a kid, you ask so many questions, and that's why you learn the world very quickly.
So true.
And the first signal of adulthood is that you start to assume, and you don't ask so much anymore. And that's where we start becoming more close-minded to the change, to the future, to the difference. So I love how you're practicing that exact skill without practicing adaptability, curiosity, change, because that's a very, amazing transferable skill.
Yeah, and it's not easy, particularly in my role at Google. I'm a doer. I don't lead a massive team, so I'm doing a lot of work. So transitioning from that approach to being someone that's sat around the table asking really thoughtful questions and not jumping in with solutions is a big transition that I've been on. Yeah.
And what other skills this exposure helps you bring to your main job?
There's been so many that are surprising as well that I didn't expect. I thought it'd be the obvious stuff, like it's going to help me with my leadership, help me with like my storytelling, which both are true, absolutely. I think I can now convey my message in a much more clearer and succinct way. And the reason for that is when you're sat around the table trying to explain a complex topic to people perhaps that they don't understand your industry, you need to speak in simple language.
Yeah.
Which again is a transition, because I work in, digital marketing at one of the largest companies and most successful companies in the world. And I work with the best in the industry. Yeah. So I don't have to explain it in a very simple way, but now I do. So that's been a shift. It's great because I don't speak in a very complex way anyway. So I think that's been quite easy and natural for me.
I think you naturally have that, because then I would explain. I was thinking like, what are the tips? And then I'm like, Jade has that natural, so I'm not so sure. I mean, if you have tips, please tell them. But I think you're natural.
Don't use complicated words.
Simple words. Back to the kid questions.
Exactly, exactly. So I think, obviously leadership, obviously storytelling. But one of the biggest values that I've got from being a Ned is honestly sitting in the same room as some of these really impressive people. There's some amazing people that I'm sat next to around the board table, and that's then opened up new and wonderful opportunities that I didn't expect to happen. I went in with no expectation for that. I was more thinking about how can I serve them. And actually it's been very interesting. It's been natural as well. It's not like we're forced it or anything, but naturally you go for coffee with people and you start speaking about what are other people up to, and the conversation progresses. And it's been brilliant that it's opened up new opportunities that I didn't expect.
And I guess you said something very interesting there, which is see what I can offer. See what I can value, was what you said. And I think what you're also natural at, knowing you, is that networking and how you tap on those relationships. And I feel there is something that you maybe like that comes natural. What you're saying is like the approach. How can you make networking easier, not daunting for people, right? And I'm wondering whether what can you offer and where can I add value and where can I help is a way in. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud now that you said that.
Yeah,
As in, like,
yeah. You're right. It's something I've been very lucky with. I love like chatting to people. I'm very sociable, as you know, very, very sociable person. So it's not hard for me to go and just ask for time with people. But I guess like if you're not used to doing that, and I think being in the sales role kind of helps that as well. You become quite natural at it. But I think if you're not used to it, yeah, think about how you can give them time to support them on something, offer advice on something, give them a perspective on something, inspire them to do something different through your skills. That then is networking, but in a soft way. It's not in like a pushy, salesy way. I'm a bit more direct. I'll say, can I have coffee with you? I want to talk about this.
You're very good at asking.
And a lot of the time people say yes.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yes.
Cliche, but true.
It's so true. It's so true. But yeah, I think just being helpful, I think. And I think so many people ask me with a NED role, particularly people that are starting out that I don't have a role yet. The first thing they ask me is, how much am I going to get paid? How much time do I need to put in? And it's like you're asking the wrong questions. If you're going in with a mindset that you want it all on day one, it's never going to happen. And I think still people are too afraid to just do some graft. One of the roles that I had, it didn't naturally end up in a NED position straight away, even though I was very, very interested in having a seat at the table. But there wasn't a seat available. So I was supporting in a kind of advisory capacity initially. And I was doing that with a view that hopefully something will come down the line, something that I actually want that's aligned with my goals that I had. But I didn't know. There was no guarantees. I just did it because it felt like it was the right thing to do.
Because you liked it also.
Yeah.
You like the topic. You like football, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And going back to football for a minute. Football. Why football?
Yeah, I often ask myself this same question every single weekend when I'm sat there commiserating. Yeah, great question. So I absolutely love football. I'm a massive football fan. I played football all at school. I remember when I was in primary school, I always played for the year above me, boys football team. So when I was in year 4, I played for the year 5 boys football team, which was mad looking back now. And women's football wasn't what it was back then. But yeah, I loved it from a very early age, played for my local town, then for county, and then got up to kind of Stoke City Centre of Excellence, which was so brilliant. I met some amazing women. So yeah, played football for a very long time. And even now, me and my partner, when we go on holiday, we'll get a football out and we'll play like crossbar challenge,
Nice.
which he absolutely loves. And I love as well because I often beat him.
Well, we're going to cut that part. No.
Yeah, Josh, do not listen to this.
You might want to listen to that. Yes.
So yeah, I love football and I knew I wanted to get back involved in some way, but there was a big gap in my career where that wasn't clear. So I left football, obviously pursued the career path. And then it's only really in the last couple of years when I've started exploring NED roles again, I've thought, okay, what are the types of industries that I want to give back to? But also perhaps in the future, I might want to go and pursue something a bit more full time in that space as well. So that's what I'm very curious about. So that helped me get my first NED role, then my second NED role, which are both in football.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like I've come full circle and I'm able to bring them the skill now, which is marketing and partnerships together, which works very well in the football space.
And I think the sports are also a bit less technologically potentially advanced than other industries, right? So yeah, there is also the specialism transferable skill beyond your like executive presence and value add skill that you bring 100%. Anyway.
100%.
Yeah.
They're great at offline media. I think digital is definitely a space which is, I think it's fair to say, emerging, particularly for Birmingham County FA where I sit as a NED. It's grassroots football. It's not the Premier League football. So those digital channels are not as, I guess, mature as what you'd expect from a Premier League club, which is very, very natural. So it's been amazing, actually, just taking the knowledge that I have and then bringing this to an industry which really values it. It's
Yeah.
been so rewarding, so fulfilling, and I'm loving working with the team. They're absolutely brilliant, and we've got some really exciting plans in the pipeline. Yeah,
That's
couldn't be happier.
amazing. I can see your whole face is lighting up when you talk about that. There is a smile, so you're definitely in the right place. And I guess to connect with what most people ask you about. So you said earlier, most people ask you, how do you find the time? How do you make money? Which are the wrong questions. But I guess it, like, your whole face light up, which means you really love what you do, and it's a passion. Like, you can see the pattern of football as a passion of yours throughout your life. So is that how you make time? It doesn't feel like work? Like, what's the answer to that question?
Yeah.
How do you have the time?
It's that. It's exactly that. Like, do something that, I know it's cliche, but like, do something that you're passionate about so it doesn't feel like work. Like, I have a full-time job. It's a big job. It's at big tech, obviously. You work a lot of hours, and I love that. So a lot of the work that I'm doing in a ned capacity is outside of hours. Now, if you're doing something that you don't like, that's very quickly going to become boring.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Exhausting.
And it's going to become mundane. I do not feel like that in any way, because I feel like it's aligned with my values, and it feels like it's aligned with the future career ambitions that I have in my mind. So it doesn't feel like work. So I know it is cliche and I know it is corny, but just think about those things that you enjoy doing outside of work. You know, is it Pilates? Is it arts and crafts? Is it, do you want to give back to a school or something? There are many different ways you can get involved in being a Ned. So yeah, I'd really think carefully about the things that you enjoy doing and you think you like doing.
And I think it's funny how you're saying, because we started that path together with like going to the events and going for the Ned. And I think where I was stuck probably, it's exactly the point that I'm like, what is my passion? What would I like to do at that capacity after hours? And I couldn't find such a clear answer like you did in that sense. And I think it's because, for example, my passion in that point is a lot about sitting down with people, learning about their lives, exploring all of this concept of change. And I thought, okay, we sit down on the couch. Maybe that's it. It's not the Ned at this point in time.
Yeah.
But I find it very interesting because I'm thinking now back, if I had also gone down that road to something that I don't particularly enjoy just to do it, maybe it wouldn't give me so much joy, or like I would be down locked for 3 years in something I don't enjoy, which is
absolutely,
it doesn't fit the box of, oh, I feel stuck at my job, so I'm looking also for something else to build my skills.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, there are more than one ways to think laterally about your career, and I
Yeah.
think Ned is just one example of that. And you're doing obviously something amazing, which is different. But yeah, it all comes back to your passion. If you're going to do something on top of your job, you better like it.
Yeah.
And particularly, you know, if you're doing something and initially it doesn't pay, perhaps, or perhaps it does. Like, it could go either way. But you know, if you're starting out, realistically, it might not. So you have to be prepared to put some graft in and to build your experience, and then the bigger roles will naturally come.
Yeah.
People will want
Step by
you,
step.
and also you'll feel confident as well to ask for those things.
Exactly. You will have already the experience. Like we're
Yeah.
building the corporate experience over time to get a
Exactly.
C-level role eventually. That's exactly the same.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And you know, in the near term, want to go and I want to work with the WSL club, which is a women's Super League club. It's the highest level in the UK. And as I mentioned, like, I love football. I love women's football in particular. And I see that space as a real area to kind of disrupt the way that they're thinking about media. So I'd love to play a role in the future in some capacity. So yeah, that's what I'm building towards.
And where do you feel like disrupting media? I love that. Where do you feel is the biggest opportunity for the football space around this time?
I think there's a lot to learn from YouTube content creators. So I think they have definitely set the benchmark for what building an engaged audience looks like. And then what you can do once you've earned the right to have that engagement and you've built that trust with your engagement, the commercial opportunity that comes off the back of that can be very, very lucrative. Look at some of the biggest creators in the world, Sidemen, for example, Stephen Bartlett. There's thousands, and they've all thought about themselves in the sense of a media company, not just now a channel. And I think taking this worldview of the world in a sporting context is a really big opportunity, particularly in women's football, because historically, you know, it was all about like filling stadiums And it's not easy now to fill a stadium, particularly in a game when you're coming up against the men's game. So actually, I think the way that, and I think the Sidemen are actually a great example, the way they've built these super fans that will do anything to be around them, anything. Like they sold out Wembley Stadium, I think the fastest on record, fastest time ever, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like these guys, I love you
was.
Sidemen, but it's not professional football. Like that just shows the power of engagement.
Yeah.
And I think building the modern day superfan happens online.
And exactly, I was reading recently as well how the whole metrics of digital marketing, everyone starts going deeper beyond the vanity metrics like followers, impressions.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I don't remember who I listened to an interview a couple of days ago, but they were saying about how can we measure fandom? So it's even deeper than the engagement of like the like or the comment, whatever platform you're on. It's like the fandom, which is, I guess, in marketing in all times, what do you call brand salience? Because it's the first brand that comes to mind, but actually it's something deeper that you really associate with.
Yeah,
and
it's part of your identity.
Yeah.
Like I identify with this person.
Yeah.
Which I can completely relate to. I listen to like 5 or 6 podcasts a week, and those people for me, I feel like they're my friends.
Yeah.
I
feel like you know them.
I know them so well because I watch them week in, week out, and I love their content. And I feel like weirdly, they're almost like my friends in some weird way because I tune in so regularly. And I think that level of connection, you can't get that on other channels.
Yeah.
It's not raw, it's not uncut. And I think in an age where people are looking for not stylized content, raw, unfiltered content, social gives you that.
Yeah.
More than any other platform, in my opinion.
And that's why we're not going to do much editing in this episode, no? Okay. The raw content, no.
This is live.
This is how it goes. First episode, let's say. Okay. And then let me go back. I'm thinking, like, to the net point and kind of make it tangible advice for our audience as well.
Yeah.
Like me and you, or me and any other watching it that might be thinking, oh, I would like a stretch on my leadership capacity, capability, build my CV for the future. Okay, where do I start? Where do I start from? Give me some actionable steps. Where do I start? And any tips or advice to navigate the journey?
Yeah, I have this conversation, I think, almost daily.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm asking. I'm sure many people ask you.
Lots of people ask me, but they don't get past the first hurdle, which is you need to build a CV.
Yes.
So that is the first step. Build your CV, but to do that, you can't just go and build your CV. Obviously, you need to understand how to build it. Now, WB directors, if you're a member, and if you're not a member, I think you can pay for it anyway. They have services where you can watch, I think it's webinars, where they will show you what a board CV should look like. They also offer board clinics as well.
Okay.
So if you have a membership with those guys, definitely check out their services. It's absolutely brilliant. If not, now I think, just use your favorite LM, which for me, would be Gemini. So use your favorite LM to help coach and give you advice on how to build it. And there'll be loads of content available on the web. So I think use whatever resources are out there. So build your CV is the first thing. Now, to build your CV, you need to get very clear on your board value add. So if you're sat there thinking, what is my board value add? Is it legal? Is it finance? Is it marketing? Is it sales or partnerships? Whatever it may be, you need to be very clear on that because that's what the board's going to hire for. If you don't know what that is, ask a friend. A friend will be able to tell you, which I think you told me, in literally a heartbeat. So ask your friend to tell you, what are you good at? Why would somebody hire you? Yeah. So then that is the thing that you'll lean into in your CV. You'll bring that out because that's the thing that you're going to hone into when you're applying for roles. Okay. So you've identified your board value add, you've built your CV, then you need to start thinking about, okay, what are the types of roles that I'm actually interested in? And there are many NED capacity roles that you can get involved in. There are charities, there are school roles and governor roles, there's non-profits, there's for-profits, there's startups, arts and culture. There's a lot out there. So think about the thing that you are passionate about, which is what we spoke about earlier. For me, that was football. So then what I did was I went on to 2 organisations' websites and I set up a load of alerts for any role that was in football. WB have a notice board, and I think they might advertise their roles every single week. They send a newsletter out.
Okay.
So sign up, I set the alerts up, all football related roles came to me. And then there's another organisation that I use, which is called First Flight Directors. And I think they largely specialise in startups. Yeah. I also signed up for their kind of notice board as well and got all the job adverts, which were both brilliant. And I found both roles through each channel.
Okay. LinkedIn has as well roles.
Yeah,
Easy.
LinkedIn.
Like
yeah.
there should be somewhere else as
Exactly.
well. Especially in the UK, they post them quite a
Quite
lot,
regularly,
I think. Not
yeah.
necessarily all the countries, but like the UK.
It's often a legal requirement
Yeah.
that they need to, and they need to have a good pipeline. So you can find them. So then, so you've board value add, CV, you found the industry, then you need to start applying.
Yeah.
Now, I would say if you've got a strong CV or a strong background and you're not getting interviews, something's probably wrong with your CV.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you probably want to go back over your CV again and think what's going on. I guess another practical tip, if there's a specific industry that you really like, but there's no jobs becoming available, think how you can get involved in that business in different ways. And that's what I did with a certain board that I work with now, where I was in an advisory capacity for a period of time. I didn't know that a NED role was going to become available, but I just did it anyway on the hope that something might become available, and it did. And then I went through the interview process.
That's amazing.
So think about the noise, the channel of noise. Can you, does an email work? Does a direct message on LinkedIn work? Will you meet them at a networking event? Whatever it may be, and then that's your moment to ask if you can support them or help them in a certain way if there's not a job available.
And this is a way to learn the business as well and see if you would actually enjoy and if you can really feel you can add value, which I think also plays with that confidence role afterwards because you know what you're talking about and you know you have things to offer.
It's just like any job, like you're kind of dating each other.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like, is this working for me as well as
both
you?
ways.
It's both ways. The last thing you remember when you join a board, you're joining in a very tight knit group of people.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you get on with their culture, and if you don't, it's not going to be much fun.
Yeah. And I think that goes both ways, by the way, for any interview process. I think for me, the moment I realized it's a two-way interview, will I like it here the same as you, will you like me? And do you think I'm going to fit? Like I immediately had like 70% less stress.
It's empowering.
When preparing for the
you
interview.
feel like you have a sense of agency.
And my question is not, is it good enough to ask? It's like genuine questions of like, do I want to come here?
Yeah. Do I want to work in this organization or not?
Yeah, it's a mental change.
It is. And then you stop becoming desperate and like you don't want to just apply for anything. And you become very purposeful then in how you show up and the jobs that you're going for. So I think there is a really positive cycle that comes off the back of that focus.
Amazing. Any other tip after interviews? You're in. Any tip on executive presence then?
I think if you're starting out, you're gonna be probably a bit nervous, I imagine. Like your first realistically, it's like starting any job. So I think your first board meeting I think will be a nervous one. So yeah, I would try, if you know some people that have gone through this journey, try and get some advice on them on like what can you expect, how the conversation's gonna go. And also just be honest and manage expectation. I think that's the best thing you can do. Like don't try and be something you're not. I was very clear, not from the first role that I ever got, I told them this is the first role. And then the first meeting I was like, look, I'm here to observe, listen, take everything in, etc. And just take the pressure off yourself. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was to start again and have my first board meeting. I do remember how I felt. So it is a little bit daunting.
And what's next for you?
So as I mentioned at the start, full circle. So yeah, planting lots of seeds, I would say. So you still work in big tech, absolutely love my job, work with some amazing clients who are very interesting. That's keeping me very busy every day and I'm still loving the work. This era of AI is like amazing and I feel privileged that I get to be on that journey with the business. So still see a career in that space for the near term. And I guess outside of that, the NED stuff is really what I want to lean into. I love it. It gives me energy. It allows me to express myself in a different way. I'm building some amazing connections. So I want to lean into that more than anything. As I mentioned, I see, WSL club is definitely in my kind of vision board ambition. So hopefully that can be a reality in the near term. But yeah, definitely in the football space, definitely in the startup space as well, because they're very different. But yeah, keep pursuing that, I would say, in the short term.
I hope you eventually make your vision board reality, which brings me to maybe another question, maybe closing one, which is, I know you're very good at setting goals and vision boards. And I think that I always admire of you, because I think that's one of your biggest drivers of always achieving and succeeding. Like, how we are at a period actually now is like beginning of the year kind of thing. So it is the time to do that exercise. Do you have any tips on like vision boarding, setting goals? Like, how do you approach this? How do you approach this process?
I'm very lucky that I have a very good friend, my best friend, and we've worked together for my entire career. And he's like my accountability partner.
Okay.
And I think that has been a game changer for both of us, because we're at very similar points in our career. He actually works at Google as well now. We started our careers together. We went on a graduate program together.
Wow.
We lived in South Africa together. Like, weirdly, our careers have gone in like the same journey.
That's amazing.
We also live in like similar areas together, and we share the same birthday.
Really? I didn't know.
On the same day. Yeah.
What are the chances?
What are the chances? Yeah.
Yes.
So I think my point is having someone close to you in your life which can hold you accountable is the biggest thing. And we'll get together usually bi-monthly, and we'll talk about
Bi-monthly, interesting. Yeah. That's very often, yeah.
We talk about our goals. We have short-term goals, medium-term, and long-term goals. And honestly, we've done that since, I would say, over 10 years now.
That's amazing.
It's just a normal thing that we do. So it's just become like muscle memory. It's not even like, oh, this is a big thing. I have a spreadsheet where I track everything. And yeah, it's muscle memory.
Yeah.
So I would say find your person that can keep you accountable, and you have some fun doing it. Like, the last thing you want to do is like have another meeting with a friend,
and do it regularly as well, because we often set it at the beginning of the year or at the end of the previous year, and then you obviously forget. But if it's a routine, it's a habit, it's a muscle memory. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And I think subconsciously you just know what you want to do.
Also, you check in together. Like, if we're having lunch together in the office, he'll be like, oh, how's this thing getting on?
Yeah.
Because he knows my goals.
Yeah.
And it then just becomes just another person keeping you accountable, which I think is so powerful.
Oh, I love this. Thank you so much for that tip, Jade. I need to go and do my own exercises and find an accountability partner. I'm going to be knocking at your door. But no, thank you. Amazing. Anything else to add?
No, just a big thank you for having me. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.